Welcome everybody to the Business Builder Podcast. This is Bros Juice, and I am in the studio with the one and only Pia Nordin from the Veterans Wealth Strategy. If you don't know what that is, that's all right. She's going to explain it to us. She's still a Marine because you're never really an ex-Marine.
That's right. No X's.
The Veterans Wealth Strategy is a financial education organization that helps veterans either coming out or on the verge of coming out. So when they transition to the civilian world, you're helping them get some financial education and also helping them use creative VA loan strategies to uh, get into real estate investing. There's also a hedge fund involved that can throw extra leverage behind it. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's an event coming soon to a military base near you.
That's
in
right.
North Carolina, where veteran business owners are going to be able to speak to these people about what their journey is and how they crafted or created their businesses when they got home, stuff like this. So did I miss anything with that?
The best part about it is, it's like I tell everybody, it's like when you're starting your own veteran owned business, it's really tough, and you are trying to crunch in between your personal credit and building a business line of credit and looking for those resources, right? And that was something that I started understanding more and more as I worked, with other military professionals and stuff. And I said, this is going to be a niche that we need to offer our veterans so they can learn how to not only have their personal development but grow their businesses too with like-minded individuals. And who else to better do it than our team? So that's what this is all about.
And you've been uh, steadily putting the team together.
Yes.
So you are the vice president, and I know what you've been doing behind the scenes. It's a lot. You've been doing the meetings, getting the people, kind of bringing them all on board, explaining who's doing what and why. And you have your partner, the president, Mr. Romeo Sykes. Now, what is his role in this?
Romeo is the president of the Veterans Wealth Strategy Division. So he owns DCMI, which is Dominion Capital. And what Dominion Capital is they're a hedge fund management company that leverages corporate credit and gives out credit cards and stuff to individuals who are good in credit, So they are basically utilizing their good credit score for a corporate credit card that can get them up to $250,000. And they can use that to invest in their business. They can also use it in real estate investment strategies. So that's where we blend in together, except I'm more of the education part of things. Mm-hmm. I want our veterans to invest wisely before just taking that money and, spending it on unnecessary things, because it's easy to do. You can get a lot of money, but then not know what to do with that money, and your money's gone before you know it. So that's why the financial literacy is imperative. It shows you where you've been, what you're doing now, and where you want to be at, right? Like all of us would love to retire at like 63. But
I want to retire now. I wanted to retire 20 years ago.
Yeah, but what would that look like to you?
Oh, well, back then it probably would have looked like $500,000.
Yeah. So how do you
get? Now it's going to be, I don't know, bank heist.
Yeah, right. But
just one more job.
But the millionaires out there, they know the secret sauce, and they've been keeping it away from us for years. And so the power of the rule of 72 that I was talking about on my short content video, that is just a simple math trick that we all could utilize. Or even looking at some of the different, stocks and bonds, but there's policies around it that once you get familiar with these products, you start learning, is this good for me? And it's good to have a financial advisor or somebody in our team that can help guide you through that, because not everybody is going to want the same product. It's not going to be for them if someone just sells an insurance product to them and then they find out it was structured wrong, right? So we want to help with that. We want to give veterans and our military professionals a chance to reclaim their power and know how to grow, protect, and save their money the right way. And that's why this is really a great movement.
Yeah, yeah, I thought so too. And I think that there's a lot of pieces that are in place already, and there may be a few that like the perfect team member for that role hasn't been filled yet. But that's part of what you're doing here. Why do you think so many veterans aren't fully aware of how powerful the VA loan really is? I can tell you why, because they were probably never told. Because I was never told. You know who
Exactly.
told me was a mortgage broker who is a civilian, but who has a soft spot for veterans. And she was like, "Well, I specialize in these things, and she can tell you all kinds of stuff." It's not, and we just especially if you're like, it doesn't matter what branch you're in, but if you're an infantry man, they don't tell you that stuff.
Well, you guys aren't gonna tell anybody like what kind of questions to ask, you know? It's the pride. It's the, I can figure it out on my own mentality, and then you try to do it on your own, you fall on your face. So, we highly recommend that when you're doing your VA claim, when you're doing anything VA related, that you talk to somebody. You talk to a veteran service organization. But here's the key with VSOs, and I know this from experience being a veteran service officer myself for over 15 years with the state of Missouri. It was listening and identifying the underlying issues going on with the veteran.
Yeah, so it's like who was it that said that? Was it Rumsfeld said there's the unknowns, then the unknown unknowns,
Yes,
right?
and peeling back the layers of the onion on some of these combat vets, it's tough. But once you actually listen and you hear their stories, you have to be that person to be empathetic. Instead of being a paper pusher, you need to be that person. It's like the social worker, the marriage counselor, the whatever you have to be in that moment to get them to share with you what's really going on with them. Because it's like I told you, Justin, we have to be a little bit vulnerable to open up a little bit to find out what kind of help we really need. Because just that extra effort that you're willing to help someone may be helping you too.
Yeah, well, and it's also, if you tie it back into a military framework, if you're on a mission, there's mission planning, right, and then there's execution. But then you get out in the field and it goes haywire, then you have to adjust. But
Yes.
like if if you get pinned down somewhere, like you're in a firefighter, you get pinned down, and like, well, we have the thing that what we're going to do is we're going to call in air support, right? So in essence, if you run into a situation where you don't know what's going on, right, what would you do? It's like in your military career, you would never just tackle it without calling for some kind of support, right? Well, why would you do that when you're not in the military?
Again, it's because we've been conditioned a certain way. And you and I know this, like when we got out of service, what's the first thing we were doing?
I was still young, so I was partying.
Okay. Well, I was looking for my next job and I was trying, I'm at 3051. I was like warehouse supply. So
Right.
everything was logistics to me. And so I was like, "Oh, I'm going to get out of service and I'm going to go find another job that's in some kind of shipping receiving field." And I remember the interview that I had with this, I can't even remember where it was. I think I was in Virginia Beach. I don't know. Anyway, I remember them saying, "Oh, that's great. So, uh, yeah, you're a Marine." Yes. "Oh, okay, that's fine. Are you willing to work for 10.50 an hour?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. Why not? I'm just trying to get some money here." And I left there. They were telling me that it just seemed like I was overqualified, that I had too many skill sets, that they couldn't really work with me, but they'll hire someone else that's beneath me because they didn't understand what we do in the military. They don't understand that
Yeah,
we're
that's
all
true.
multitaskers
Yeah.
and that a lot of us become our own vetpreneurs because we want to control our own work life. We want to be our own boss because that's what we know.
Well, I didn't. So I was a CD, so I learned how to. I was in the air, so I was driving heavy equipment. I learned how to drive all that stuff. So I was like, oh yeah, cool. I'll just come back and I'll get a job driving something big, right?
Yes.
No. And what I didn't understand was that, like, they're not, no employer is going to trust an unknown entity with a large piece of equipment that's like very expensive, you know. And here and I was just a kid, and I'm coming back, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I can drive all that stuff." And they're like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
And I think I cold called everybody. And this is like, I'm old, so this is when we still had the yellow pages. It was, for those of you who've never seen one, it was a big thick book with all the phone numbers in it of all the businesses. So literally called every place that had like dump trucks or construction. I called them all. I was almost like over 20 of them,
Yeah.
and everybody said no. And I was like, dang, like, did I just waste all my time? And I never, like, outside the military, I never drove a heavy piece of equipment again after that. I went back to restaurants. That's where I came from. So I went back to being a fry cook.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Yeah, and then my dumb ass decided to go in Department of Corrections, so it was like, "Oh,
that's
I
interesting.
wanna be in a military environment. I want the structure. I want the
That's not
discipline."
military.
And I chose to work in a maximum security prison, in this rural area of Missouri, and, I'll tell you what, though, it's an experience. It's like
Yeah.
watching, I'm sorry to say it, guys, but grown men act like babies in
Well,
prison.
that's why they're there. Look, I have a. Well, if you ever want to take accountability for yourself and you're going to blame everything on everybody else, there's two places you end up. One's jail, the other's great.
Mhm.
Because freedom is on the other side of responsibility. You want freedom, you got to take responsibility. If you're always like, well, it's not my fault, it's not my fault. It's not, some judge somewhere is going to be like, well, you're the only one in the car with 5 kilos of coke, and you're saying that the last person left it there and it's not yours. I just don't buy it.
Right.
It's like, no, you're going down for this. Mr. It's not my fault. And I think by and large, a lot of people who end up there, you know, they end up there because of that. And like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, you did. And like, you ran into somebody's house because you were drunk. It's like,
But
oh, it's the beer's fault.
yeah, so the reason why I think this is an important topic is because we are all capable of doing something wrong with the law. And a lot of us have been in positions where we could have gone to jail, right?
I
Okay.
will. I will plead the
We'll
fifth.
plead the fifth. So I used to talk to some of these guys who were veterans, and they're Vietnam veterans, and a lot of them just didn't know how to shut it off. And so they came home, found out, someone was messing around with their wives, and instead of handling it the best way they knew how to, that was, hey, I'm going to kill her or I'm going to kill him. And that's what most of the stories I used to get from the inmates in the prisons. And I was like, well, it would make sense, but now that you're serving time, how do you feel about it? Like, oh, I've gotten closer to God.
Yeah, well,
That's good. That's
good for you, but it's like,
but now you're spending, 20 years to life
well, if you
because
sent somebody to meet God, then I mean,
yeah, it's the arrangement, so
well, and back then too, they didn't really, there wasn't any, they never even thought about PTSD. They never, it wasn't a thing that they had looked at or admitted or diagnosed or whatever. It was just like, you either go and you come back and you're screwed. I remember reading somewhere there was some African tribe or nation that they had a rule that if you went to war and then you when you came back, you couldn't just come right back into like the tribe again.
mhm.
There was a special place for those people who were coming back, and you had to take a year and just spend with these people, and it would have been all these other people who were coming back. You guys had to like all decompress and like work all this stuff out of your system before you come back into the normal general
Yeah,
population again, right? Because you can't go from like well, my cousins that were in the army, they're like, that's high speed, man. Like you're high speed. It's like you can't go high speed and then just stop. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
because it's like if you're on a treadmill and you just run it and then you come off the treadmill, you still there's that inertia that keeps pulling you. Like yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think there should be a transitional period where you like decompress and you get this all this stuff that's on your heart and your soul and your mind, and you can deal with it before you come back into the real world. Because even still, I mean, I know guys that will come here and train, and some of them are like, man, you know, I, I did all this stuff, but still sometimes like I'll hear fireworks going off, and they're just and they've been out for years,
yeah,
right? But
yeah,
sometimes if they don't know it's about to like they don't know somebody's about to shoot off some fireworks and they hear boom, right? They immediately think,
You
more or
flashback.
something else,
Yes.
and they will not that they freak out, but they react, and they're like they go instantly into respond mode, and it's like they're like, dude, I'm like, yeah, I get it. I mean, I understand,
And
I don't
same thing with big crowds,
a
right?
lot of yeah, a lot of
You're
don't want to be
always
crowds.
like watching out at these big crowds. I don't go to concerts. I don't do things like that. But even my back to a door, I can't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm constantly looking for the nearest exits, just in case something kicks off.
Well, it's funny too. I saw a meme somewhere on social media a while ago, and it was posted by like ex military dude, and it was like a parking lot, and it was like two rows of cars, and then it was a solid wall or something like that, and there was a one parking spot free. He was like, most of you are going to look at that and can think that's a parking spot, and he's like, a lot of us are looking at it though, going, that's the kill zone. So just they have a real issue parking there, because they're driving in there like it's kill zone, man. You can't believe parking here. But
That's why same thing with like backing up your vehicles. And I know majority of Marines do this. We are always ready to bug out somewhere. So, that is something I've always done is it doesn't matter where
did
I'm
you
at.
back in?
I backed into
I
your
didn't see.
parking space.
So my son's mother she was in the army. She's in it right, driving trucks for at least one tour. I don't know how long she stayed, but she does the battle back everywhere, and like every time like we meet her, I see her, she's backing in. It's like you realize it's like you're you're not in Iraq. You're in the middle of North Carolina. Right? She's like, I don't just that's just what I do. And I was like,
Yeah.
10
Get
4,
used to
10 4,
it.
right?
It's never gonna change.
I used to do the same thing. I do it now more now because now the truck that I have has the camera on the back. Like, get you a backing camera. Oh man, it's. Here's these things like these privileges or these whatever these things that you never had before, right?
I call them upgrades.
Yeah, and then the thing is, you get used to it, and then if you get a car that doesn't have that, you're like, what are you, this Stone Age? Like, where's your camera? Why can't I see the lines? Because mine will tell me it's got this overhead view, right?
Yes.
I don't know how they do it, the algorithm or whatever, but it's like, it tells me, and I can back up perfectly in there, and I'm just like, yeah. So now if I drive my Jeep, it doesn't have that, I'll be all like,
Having
4,
to turn
4,
your
4
neck
degrees off, and I'm
around.
just like, nah, I don't care. I don't care. Well, I learned how to drive a Vietnam era deuce and a half dump truck,
Mm.
and I could back that thing within like an inch or 2 inches from a wall without hitting it, just using the mirrors, and everything shakes on the thing, like everything's rattling. And I was like, I got this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when we were training, they had these big metal like buoys or whatever, and that's what they were because they knew we were going to smash into things. And you knew the guys that didn't know what they were doing because they're like, and you just hear, and you're like, oh, there's
They
Johnson
didn't take
again.
their training for
Oh my
driving
gosh.
school.
They had a dirt course, but they know you got like 18, 19-year-old dudes out here, and you're giving them like 2-ton dump trucks and telling them go around this dirt track. What do you think you did? And they don't have seatbelts in them, and they told us like we had to wear the hard hats, right? So they're like, make sure you wear your hard hat when you go around the track. And somebody's like, why is that? And he's like, you'll know because there's holes. It's like, and you hit the thing. The dude in the truck with me didn't have his helmet on. He bounced up, smashed his noggin on the top of the cab. And I was like, that's what I told you to wear the thing. I was like, I wear mine, dude. I don't want to get a concussion just driving around this thing. That was fun days. So, what is you bring the financial education events directly to basis. Why is that boots on the ground approach so important? I think I know why, but tell me why you guys are doing that.
Wow. Because even my own experience, right, when I got into the whole financial services, it was like the light bulb went off, right? I started understanding that, yeah, I have money coming in, but most of it's going out, and my life gets so busy by myself that I'm trying to figure out where is all this money going. And when you finally sit down and you do this financial needs analysis report, it's really the roadmap to your key to success. It really helps you put everything into perspective, look at the numbers, and go, oh, this is like, this, I'm going to run out of money by the time I'm this age. Or I've created these diseases, financial diseases, because I didn't do preventative measures to get me where I want to.
What's that financial disease?
It could be anything, debt. It could be, you've got too many vehicles with too many high payments because you don't understand the interest rates.
Yeah, young guys
So
that pay the
yeah,
tax and
yeah,
go,
you take your has pay and you go buy that
yeah,
$50,000 truck.
or the Dodge, they'll get like the Charger.
So yeah, I get it, man. I mean, I get it when we get out, you got this money, or even when you're in, you have all this money, and we were drawing that every 2 weeks. You get that paycheck. You get out, and it's like, oh, I gotta get a job. I gotta figure out to provide for my family. I gotta figure out how much money I need now. What does that look like? And it's like, oh, it's like it hits you all of a sudden, right? And even the transition assistant programs, they tell you, on their little checklist, go see the VA, go talk to this person, go talk to that person. But nobody ever talks about their money. So I firmly believe it's a money issue. We all have bad coping mechanisms with PTSD, right? We'll go buy our alcohol, we'll go buy weed, whatever we got to do to basically deal with our PTSD problems and disabilities. And I found out that a lot of us spend more money on those coping mechanisms because it's easier to numb the pain away than actually use the money for something of a good purpose.
Or because again, there's two types of debt, right? There's good debt and there's bad debt. If you're
Mhm.
taking out a loan, and the guy I talked to yesterday, he does this. He's a real estate investor, and he's a former Marine or whatever you guys call that. No longer in
Just
the service,
you're a
but he's a
Marine.
Marine. Right.
Marines are Marines. That's
Anyway,
all we are.
well, he's in the real estate game now. He does a lot of buying of multifamily properties now, all
Yeah.
this kind of stuff. He was doing wholesaling and all this stuff early on, but you know, there's if you're gonna get money, if you're gonna take out a loan, don't buy something that's a liability. And the liability is something that pulls money out of your pocket. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. So you take the loan out, and buy the asset, right? Well, that's real estate, right? Whether it's long term rental, short term rental. He's got some Airbnbs, which I'm you got Airbnb,
I got an
right?
Airbnb. Yes.
Yeah, I've thought
And
about
I'm working on building that empire, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I got into real estate,
that. Right.
right? Is because I started out with the whole Airbnb thing tailored to meet travel professionals coming into Wilmington and the surrounding areas. I didn't want it to be a traditional Airbnb. It's more like, here's a suite for you. If
Yeah.
I'm renting this out to you, it's a home away from home. But I am your super host and property manager. So get used to having safety and security at your convenience.
I'm going to be patrolling.
You're on camera.
But yeah, but if I think a lot of people just aren't taught that at all. I certainly and my mom is a real estate agent, has been for like almost 4 years, I guess, and it was still something that I didn't fully understand. And even her as a real estate agent, yeah, she got rentals, but you don't have to be a real estate agent to own rental property. And in a lot of ways, the license holds you back from doing certain things that you could do if you didn't have the license.
Oh yeah, so I failed my real estate exam. I wanted to be an agent just to, see what it was like, and I thought I'd be good at it because I'm a good people person. I have a great personality for it. However, after I saw like how much they take in the MLS dues and the real estate commissions and all these like bylaws, I was like, I'm going to see if I could do it as an investor where I have skin in the game and I can figure out the loopholes in creative finance to where, as a veteran, I have access to my VA home loan and I can use like certain hacks that give me an advantage over the traditional real estate methods.
But again, what you said before, it's just not common knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, it is more so now than it ever has been before with the internet, with people, talking about it and making it more popular. But it's not for everybody. I mean, that you have to. There's a lot to go along with it, unless you're just going to be the money man. If you can be, that's what I want to be. I don't want to. I know how to do all that work. Like my grandfather built houses. Like I went from picking tobacco at like 13 to building houses because he developed the land. It was all tobacco, and then develop it into a subdivision instead of we were building houses as I was a teenager. And then that's why I got a job because I was like, I don't want to go back and build houses or pick tobacco. I'd rather just work at the fish restaurant because that sucks less than this other stuff.
I would not want to work in a fish restaurant. Talk about too much fish.
Well, I was 16. I didn't care. I just wanted to be able to go. No, I got to go to work because I didn't want to be out in the freaking tobacco fields all summer long.
Oh God, no.
It was terrible. I mean, but it was like I don't know. I didn't mind. I don't mind hard work, but it was grueling. But again, embrace the suck. But you also get to pick your hard, right? You get to pick. Like,
Oh, I didn't get to pick. I lived with a father who wanted boys for his family, and I was hauling hay, building fence, taking care of horses and all other animals.
that's Missouri, folks.
Yes, that is what it's like to live in. Can I say bumfuck Egypt, because that's what Missouri is, okay? And all they care about is farm animals, lots of acreage, and settling down and have lots of babies. But that wasn't my
Well,
thing.
you need all those babies because you got all that.
Yeah,
That's
and I
what
guess
you
I
think.
was just the last one in the household that got stuck with all the farm work. So great. Yeah,
How many
yeah,
brothers?
I'm tough now. No
How many-
brothers.
No brothers.
No brothers.
So all girls?
All girls. I have 2 older sisters, 10 years my senior.
I think my grandfather was aiming for the same thing because he had 5 girls and no sons. You know, it was like, you know, and again, they all worked.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So when I finally said enough is enough at 17, I said, I've grown up this military mindset. I've grown up disciplined. I've grown up strong and physically fit. And I remember telling my dad, I looked at him, I said, I joined the Marine Corps. And he looked at me and said, what did you do? I said, I joined the Marine Corps. I'm
out
out.
of here.
I'm
See ya.
out. And I mean to tell you,
Bail your own hay.
oh my gosh, yeah. I was like, I'm going to travel the world. Marine Corps recruiter told me I have all these benefits and da 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 da. And I remember him talking to my Marine Corps recruiter, and he says, I give her 2 weeks. And that recruiter looked at him and said, man, like, how could you say that about your daughter?
Underestimated.
Oh, he did underestimate me. Yeah. Like I said, my dad's an asshole. I respect the man. But, there's 2 types of people. There's Marines, and then there's everybody else. So I'll carry that to my grave.
Let's talk about the event itself, right? It's the Veterans World Strategy event. Going to be
We want to kick it off in Fayetteville.
Okay, Fayetteville.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I keep saying Jacksonville. That's just because it's just closer, and that's what I'm thinking.
That'll be the next one. I
So-
mean, we're going to hit all the bases in North Carolina once we get this first one, off, and we get a great audience that comes to this because they're really going to learn something.
Right. Okay. So what are they going to learn?
They're going to learn about the challenges of overcoming those difficult obstacles that you face when you transition from military service to civilian life.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're also going to get an opportunity to listen to some of our guest speakers who are either veteran-owned business owners who will talk about, their military service and how they started their business and why their business is important to the community and how it can give the military community an opportunity to either get a job with them, build new relationships, better networking. Yeah, bring back that camaraderie in that environment because I know, like, just in talking to you, being both veterans, it takes one to know one. And we actually build a good relationship because we're helping each other out and we're wanting to see each other grow. And that's what it takes. It takes somebody else to say, I see what your vision is. I believe in you and I want to take you to the top.
Yeah, it's the team effort, because as much as a lot of us like to think we're self-made, we're not. We got some help from somewhere. Somebody helped us. We had a mentor. We had a team somewhere, or at least one person. And I think that's a myth that a lot of people believe about themselves. Like, I did this all by myself. No, if you think about it, you really didn't.
You got to just have that right person. I firmly believe that. And Romeo has been very supportive with this. Like, it took me a while to really trust him on what he was talking about because I'm like, you're not a veteran. Like, you don't understand our jargon. You don't, I mean, come on, man. Really prove to me that you're worth my time.
Yeah.
And man, he did. He came up with this, educational template from what I could do as a financial services consultant, and then also my VA skills, and put it all together, and I'm sure, like, again, that goes back to that go high level software, Canva, stuff that I didn't know about. And then he showed me what he did on the corporate credit side of things and hedge funds. And I was like, well, this is impressive. Okay, well, let's see if we can make this work. So, it took us a lot of time, and I'm a go giver, right? And I will go out of my way to build a team of like minded people, and that's what I did. I went to the real estate community and I said, "Hey guys, I'm looking for our veteran-owned business owners, and I want to bring you on a No One Left Behind that is a military edition team."
Mhm.
So far, I've got 11 members, great attitudes, great personalities. They come to my Zoom meetings and we talk about, how do you want to contribute to Veterans Wealth Strategy Initiative? What is your superpower? What sets you apart from everybody else? And, what do you want from us to show that you matter? Right? Because that's the important thing. It's not about working for me, it's about working with me, and building the partnerships, because that's what I value. I value good, strong relationships that help each other grow.
Yeah. Your network is your net worth, and uh, in 2025 and beyond, and in like kind of modern business realm, I think that collaboration is the key over competition. It used to
Absolutely.
be, oh, it's like beat your competitors. It's now it's like, no, sometimes you and your competitors, you even though you may have overlap, they might specialize in something that you don't. And
Mhm.
each one of you can, it's like the Wonder Twin powers activate. You can come together and even work with your, supposed competition, and still both of you would benefit from that. So I think the collaborative effort is the way of the future. It's the way of now for sure. And I think that's just going to be a prevailing way to do business moving forward. So yeah, so the people who are the ticket buyers for these events, right? They're going to get a lot of good information and a lot of value. They're going to have access to all these people who can be a template for what it's like on the other side when they get out, transition out. It's like, okay, here's what this person did, here's what this person did. You can see them, hear the stories, talk to them, partner up with them, perhaps have a mentor mentee relationship with them. Kind of, it's what you're doing a lot. I don't know if you
And
realize that, but you're doing that with a lot of people.
yes, yes,
Um,
I'm building up the network of the military professional community. And I'm saying I am looking to raise capital for veteran related projects, whether that be in real estate, financial literacy, webinars, IT software, whatever we can do together to achieve the victory, right?
yeah,
I'm on this mission to where I'm driven to make sure that all of us know that we're taking care of our own, that
right.
it's about time.
Yeah.
And we have a government system that is not suitable for our needs, right? I know I'm going on a tangent here, but when you stop and think about being 100% permanent and total disabled, right? You carry that as like, oh, I'm not worth much anymore. Like, what am I going to do with these disabilities? Is a job going to hire me? Blah, 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 blah. And then you realize that your disability shouldn't define you, and society makes you feel that way by putting you in that victim mentality. Oh, you're broken. Oh, this is what's wrong with you. Blah, 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 blah. Here's a pill, take it, mask the symptoms and become a zombie for 10 years. Whatever. I saw a lot of it. But I realized that we are stronger together if we can boost each other up. And I think we've lost a lot of that. I firmly believe united we stand, divided we fall. And
Yeah.
I think it's time that all of us just put your pride to the side, stand up, speak your truth, because I've waited a long time to speak my truth. a long time. And it was like the hardest thing for me was stepping out of my comfort zone.
Well, growth is on the other side of discomfort.
Yeah,
So,
definitely, definitely.
I mean, and that's kind of like the whole military arc, right? It's like you start. It's like remember Full Metal Jacket.
Oh
It's
God,
like
who
you aren't
doesn't?
even human beings. You are maggots. It's like by the time I'm done with you, you will be Marines.
Yes,
so,
yes.
so it's always like the transformative process, but so that's what people who are ticket buyers are going to get now. The veteran business owners who are sponsors, right? So you have different tiers of sponsorship for these events. Now, if for a veteran business owner who wants to sponsor this, what are they getting out of that?
I mean, it all depends on how much they want to contribute to this. Like we've got our, entry level sponsorship, $1,500. This can be for our nonprofit organizations that, they want to shine their light on the community on what they're doing as a nonprofit. So we give them that low introductory rate. And then if you want to go higher than that, we have different tiers where $2,500 gets you in. You get, we're going to do fun things like get you a coffee mug, get you some Black Rifle coffee, we could get you t-shirts, hats, anything that you can spotlight at the table is provided for you that you can showcase your products and services. And then as the tiers go up, you get more. And we get interviews with you,
You know what?
Justin.
I think part of like in those higher tiers, there should be like a chopper ride and some range time. Not even lying. Like,
If I could get one of our guys to get the
oh, you know some
Apache,
pilots.
I know some pilots, and I mean, I'm telling you, if I could get him to do that for us, if his command will let us, I mean, that would be awesome.
I want to.
Outdated.
I've never fired a saw, and the one gun, it's my favorite gun of all time that I have never even put my hands on before, is a MP5, right? Submachine gun, HK MP5, dude,
Yeah.
room clear, right? That's what I want. And like, so for me, if I'm like, oh, I'm paying the high tier, I want the chopper ride, I want the tank ride, and I want range time, I want to fire the saw and the 60 gun. Or a 50 cal, like, do you ever do the 50 cal?
Oh yeah.
Double thumb shirts?
Oh yeah.
Again,
Marines get to blow shit up
you
all the
can't
time.
see anything,
Right.
and you can't hear anything because that thing is so. It's like, "Ta, ta, 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 ta," you're like, yeah, and the only thing that you do see is that your tracer is going
The
up.
tracers.
That's
Yeah.
the only thing. Now I could hear it, right? I could hear it because I was shooting at a half track. It's 150 yards away. But if you can't hit something at 150 yards away, it's like you shouldn't be shooting. But
Shouldn't be on the range.
so
Sorry.
so we're I was but I could hear it. So tick 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 tick, and I was like, yeah, I hit it. He's like, you're hitting. I was like, I know, I can hear it. I can't see anything, but I can hear it. But yeah, get those in. I think you're gonna have some fun. Or you know what, too? The only other thing I haven't ever done, which I want to do, is I want a drone footage of this. I want to dress up in old 80s Miami Vice clothes and get on one of them speedboats and just start jumping waves. Like that should
If
be
you
part
can
of the
find me a
sponsorship
vet who's
package.
got a yacht or a speedboat,
Somebody's got one
here in Wilmington.
All right,
So
guys. Like,
we want you, to give
yeah.
us a ride on the boat. We'll have a party with all of our vets on there
And
have a
get
good
somebody
time.
with a drone to catch the aerial footage,
Yeah,
right? And
that's what I'm saying. This could be a great mix, of bringing everybody together and having a good time.
can you share a real story of a vet who went from zero to owning property thanks to your strategies or your mentoring or whatever?
I guess I'm the story.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
but you got an Airbnb.
I bought my first house in Missouri and I was renting, and I did not know really how the VA home loan worked. So when you're a veteran service officer, you learn all these things because now you're being educated, you're getting the knowledge you need to know what your own benefits include.
Right.
Okay, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna go search a house, and I found a place in rural Plato, Missouri. But yeah, so it's a small town. It sits about 45 minutes from Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, outside of St. Robert, and that was where I was driving back and forth. And then I also had four other counties I was representing by myself to help veterans in their community, and so I was all over the place, right? And so I wanted to be in an area where I knew I was central to all of my locations. I just need to be within 30 minutes of every direction. So I found this cute little place, and it was a two-bedroom, two-bath house, had 40 acres. and I had a horse barn, riding arena, 30 by 60 by 90 garage. I was like living the dream. And I remember talking to the owner about it. I said, well, it's got that spiral staircase. And I said, if I could take that spiral staircase out and make it just regular traditional stairs, would they be willing to go down on the price? Because I have to change that up. So I actually made the terms and the deals with the seller because the mother was in a nursing home and her son was in California and he was trying to get the price off the land, not the house.
Ah,
And so I negotiated it with the realtor and he's like, are you going to change out the stairs? And I said, if he's willing to go down on the price, yeah. And he really was desperate to get rid of the house. So you're talking about it was listed for 330,000. I got it for 260.
good grief, man.
Yeah. So
What
it was
what a
great.
staircase. I
Um,
can't believe you took out the spiral stairs, man.
oh, the spirals, they were too much. They were just too much.
Well, I've always thought they were cool, but then like go up and
Yeah,
down a
try
few
to go up
times.
them.
It kind of snaps a little bit, right?
And if you
It's-
have a bad hip like me, it's not hip to have spiral staircase.
no,
Okay,
because
it's
you just always turn.
you're always
They
like
look so cool,
crooked.
but they're not. They're not really. They're not utilitarian, and they're not.
Yeah,
I mean, and it was only designed to fit stairs in a really small space
yeah.
where you didn't have room to kind of.
I just didn't understand it. Like, how could this house have this spiral staircase with, bedroom downstairs and then your top floor all the way up here, to get
Yeah.
in there.
So that's the thing about when people design houses that you forget that someday you're going to be old, and this thing that you think is cool in your 20s and 30s, when you're 60 and 70, you're like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Which is why now I get why people they when they downsize and you just get a rancher. It's like I know why. It's because you can't go
Stairs
upstairs
suck.
anymore.
Stairs suck. They really do. But they're good to have for exercise. That's how I look at it. So, long story short about my house in Missouri, I had a house fire.
That sucks.
I lost everything.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so that was in November of 2017, a week before Thanksgiving.
Oh,
It sucked. It was like really devastating, but then it was like my survival instincts kicked in, right? Like I watched my house burn down and I remember saying, I gotta go to the insurance company. Like I gotta go report this. I get and I remember walking into the insurance company first thing in the morning after, everything was put out and stuff. But walked in my pajamas, no shoes. I was like, hey, I need to report a house fire. And they looked at me and they're like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm doing what I need to do right now. I just went through the house fire. I'm reporting it. I need to get it done, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't even report to work because my phone had burned up in the fire. Everything just burned up. It was a fucking disaster. Had two fire departments out there, and one of the volunteer fire departments didn't even put water in the thing in their truck, so they had to go to my pond, siphon water from the pond to get it out. So by the time these fire departments got there, like the house was ablaze. I mean, it's just pretty much gone. And I remember the fire chief telling me, he's like, well, really hate to hear that your house burned down and are you planning to rebuild? I was like, well, it took you guys two fire departments to get here and you want me to rebuild after this? Probably not, you know?
yeah.
So,
It's like that's a big L on your
yeah,
part, chief.
yeah. And then my boyfriend at the time, he's a combat vet, and he was there with me. But shortly after that incident, he committed suicide.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't know if it was because I just could not deal with my own issues, and then he had his other issues, and he felt guilty for the house burning down for some reason. I don't really know, but that was another hard blow for me. And I was still working full time with Missouri Veterans Commission. And I remember one day I was in there and this vet just looked at me and says, you all right, darling? And I just lost it. I just, you know, and they said, oh, she needs to go to the psych ward. We need to get her out of here. And I spent time with, Columbia. They took me up there and spent about 27 days in the hospital. And they were like, well, you have severe PTSD. I'm like, you fucking think? I mean, I'm
Lord.
trying to be strong for everybody else. And now this is happening to me.
Yeah, see, that's why that year-long decompression period is a thing
It
that
is
makes a lot of
really, I
sense.
needed to, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I
Well,
tried to internalize it and deal with it the best way I knew how to.
and there was nobody when you came out, when you transitioned out, that there's probably nobody that said, "Hey, you probably want to do this and
Yeah,
take some time and just decompress
I did.
instead of jumping right back into to the deep end." What happened after? I mean, because
I
after
had
you
to
get
make
out,
a difficult decision.
right?
I had to decide, okay, I didn't have a good support system. All right.
Apparently,
My
yeah,
dad didn't really care. My mom was already
yeah.
sick.
Missouri's not for you anymore.
No. And listen, my sisters were already doing their own thing, right? So we never really had a close connection. And I was always the rebellious one.
Yeah, you're like the black sheep for
I
real.
really am.
Yeah.
And I don't take shit from nobody. I don't care who you are. So I was just at this point in my life where it was like, okay, Pia, it is time for you to move on. You're gonna have to take a risk. You're gonna have to make a choice, and it's gonna be a scary change, but you're gonna have to do it, or you're really gonna end up losing it.
Yeah.
So I went through this. I heard about coming back to North Carolina and thinking about starting my own business. And I was like, what do I need to do to start my own business? And I started doing a bunch of different kinds of things, knowing that I was good as a veteran service officer. I was good at getting my veterans 100% without any kind of appeals. I was that good, guys. Like, I was at least 98% of my claims that were submitted, majority of them came back 100% or
Sweet.
at least close to, because I cared. I cared about the results. I didn't care about how many numbers I got a month to do claims. I wanted to make sure that the veterans who didn't know what they could apply for, didn't know what they were entitled to, that they were going to get the best benefits that they deserved. And that's why I worked as hard as I did. But I realized I was helping everybody else
Except you.
except me.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to go deep within and find out, what do I need to do to take care of me? Because I've been taking care of all these people, but nobody's taking care of me. So, you find out the hard way that um, even though I love my family, I love my mom dearly and stuff, but it was to the point where I had two children that I had to think about. And I was like, well, it's time to put up or shut up. And so I moved here to North Carolina with the little things that I had from my office. I resigned from the commission because they wanted me to continue to be a trainer for new veteran service officers coming in. And they wanted me to do other things. I was like, I am not mentally able to even train, and you're trying to put all this responsibility on me.
Or
So
unless you put a couple more zeros on the
oh,
paycheck.
and they weren't going to do that. Like, not working for the state. It doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
And so I said, F it, I'm out. You guys don't want to support me. I'm gone. And so me and my son came here, and I started my own business, and it was called Serene Patriot Services.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started doing like instant claims for people who needed a second review on their rating decision letters. And so instead of being an attorney, I was basically your independent claims agent, offering them a flat rate fee that, hey, if I do all this for you and I know I can get you the benefit, you pay me a flat rate, you know. And I was doing really good with that. And then COVID happened. So another strike on my plans. And, I got sick with COVID, and I had to be like, everything that I invested in this business is now gone.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am starting from scratch again. And I just took some time and, sat down, got with American Legion. I would sit down with American Legion, joined their membership. And then I found out that I really wasn't important in American Legion either. It's all about who you know.
Mm.
So I don't despise any of the veteran service organizations. I've always wanted to partner with them and work out different ways of benefiting, helping each other out, whether it be, hey, you guys got the money, but I can get you the members you need, some kind of exchange of value. And I work close with the veteran community. I like talking to our veterans. I like finding out, what are you going through that maybe I've already been through that I can help you get to your next level, right? And so I've always been passionate about helping others. And I think that's why I always say my target audience is the people who are like me.
Yeah. Yeah, all you black sheeps out there. There's I'm one too. I mean, there's more out there than you think. And
That's right.
you'll attract your own. The thing is, like, when I first got here, shortly after I got here, it was one of the lowest points of my life. And one of my best friends here is a SWAT cop. And he was at a low point in his life too. And we were just two bros that just knew that you're going through a pretty crappy time, and so am I. And I was like, man, I don't know. We both of us kind of didn't know what we were going to do in the near future. And he says, man, we can build something here. He's like, we just got to run. He's like, we just got to run our flag up the flagpole. And the people who can see it and understand it, he's like, they'll come around us. And I was like, yeah, I think you're right. And we did. And we had, obviously we're still friends to the state, but um, that's just what you got to do. Sometimes if you don't fit in anywhere, you make your own.
Yeah, you
and
do.
so that aspect of what you're doing right now is like the community building.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, not everybody's going to fit. Some people are going to fall. And then not everybody can be in the inner circle either. Some people are good on the outside circle, and that's where they need to be. And then some people need to be in close.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those people you'll find out where to put them.
Yeah, someone asked me the other day, they said, are you just focused on just veterans? Like, are you going to allow dependents wanted to support you and stuff? So, well, absolutely. Like, why wouldn't I want you guys to support us? You're like the backbone of the military. Even though you didn't serve, you served in different ways. So, if you want to support us, you want to be part of event planning, you want to be a financial literacy, you want to figure out some of those niches that you can help with veterans who are, trying to build their personal development and their spiritual growth, then I encourage people to do that because when you start realizing that you're humble, you are passionate, you have a skill set that most people don't have, or they don't understand how to use it. Well, I want them to apply it.
Yeah. Yeah, because otherwise you're just, you're wasting
You're
your gift.
I learned that in volunteer work. So like, you have volunteers that say, oh, I want to help. But if you don't give them something to help out with, like telling them, what are you good at? Don't just put them in something they're not good at, because then you're going to get really bad results from that. So I always say, hey, what's your skill set? What do you do? What's your superpower? And where can I put you at?
Right.
Because then you're helping that person feel included, and you're also giving them something to do that they're good at.
Yeah. Which is what I mean. That's what a platoon is, or a fire team.
Well, that's what I was good at as an NCO. My guys would follow my lead when it came to doing shipping and receiving. We had everything, organized. And man, I used to be like really organized, but
not anymore.
Not this ADHD brain. Now I have this squirrel, moments. So having a team is important to me.
So from Missouri to North Carolina, and then all right. So just trying to tie in the transition from not being in the real estate game to being in the real estate game. You came to North Carolina, started your own business. Now, when did you? So you bought real estate here as well.
I did.
Okay, and then is it like more than one, or is it like?
No, it's just one property right now. My goal is to have 12 properties in the next 2 years.
That's ambitious.
I could do it.
It's doable, but
it's doable. Ambitious. And I know I can do it because it's really about your mindset.
Well, it's also about money.
Hey,
because money gets tied up in all the other stuff, and
But here's the thing. Again, you're missing the point. Creative finance, my friend.
So let's
and I will teach you the ways.
Yeah. I will teach you the ways.
Yes.
So since we're talking about that, let's talk about the what is it, DCIM?
Oh, Dominion Capital
Okay,
Management
so
with
how
Romeo.
how is Romeo and Dominion Capital? It's that that's kind of a capital group or institution. How is that backing what you guys are doing with the Veterans Wealth Strategy?
So he pretty much covers your like corporate side of things when it comes to real estate. So if you're a passive investor or an active investor, Romeo sets it up to where, your good credit can get you these extra lines of credit on a credit card
Okay.
because you're able to utilize that money to invest into a property or invest into your business. So you have all this lines of credit. I mean, if there was things that we learned how to use credit cards effectively, we would all be millionaires to this day. I
Well,
swear
again,
to you, we
buy
would.
an asset, right? I mean, use the money and buy the asset and pay
Right.
that back off. So,
But
but
he's really good at understanding the creative finance with doing subject to with properties. He's got a background of 20 years of doing that. And then also just working with these billionaires who have been in hedge fund management, right? And understanding how to raise capital for different kinds of causes. And he's got other divisions too that he's trying to grow. Like he's got a church division. He's got a single women investing money division. He's helping single women where they are trying to get into real estate, but also learn creative finance to help their own lives. So Romeo is very passionate about creating this dynamic division that's kind of portrayed around an MLM,
mhm.
but giving everybody a chance to be their own millionaires.
Right, yeah, that's what I got too when I was on the Zoom call. But
Hmm.
and that was one of the first ones. So there was a lot of just figuring stuff out. But I like this question here. If every veteran understood what you're teaching or what you want to teach, how would the military community look different in 10 years?
Oh man, I think that the military community would finally have something for, being stable, financially stable, knowing that they're going to be okay when they get out. They're being set up for success, not failure.
Yeah, that's well again because
And it has to take somebody to lead the way to really, be driven and ambitious and say, I did it. Why can't you?
well, are there any examples of somebody that did do that? I mean, I know that there's a one guy, I forget his name.
Yeah, there's a military millionaire. I've
He's all
watched
over
his.
YouTube.
He's all over YouTube, but I think the difference between him and I is he's looking at doing rentals, rental properties. So I guarantee you, he's using the VA loan hack where you buy a multifamily duplex and you stay in one unit and you rent out the rest, right? So that's where I think he does his old concept. I could be wrong, but that's what I kind of observed
That's what
from
I
it.
want to do, man. I don't want to pay rent anymore.
But that's what I'm saying. If we all learned how to be profitable as veterans, I mean, think about it. We got property tax credit once you're over 100%. You know what a property tax credit is, right?
I've never heard that term
Oh
before.
my gosh.
A
So,
property
so
tax credit? You get
yes,
credited?
you get credited on your property taxes because you're a disabled veteran.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but you have to be 100%.
Okay. Well, there's plenty that are.
Yeah. And then you have your handicap license plates that are given to you so that way you don't have to worry about that parking issue. And then
Uh,
you also have advantages where this is a tax-free benefit that you can take this money you get from the VA. You could turn around and invest. I'm just going to say $4,000. That's the minimum for a single veteran with no dependents. And take that $4,000 and invest it into either a life insurance policy, a Roth IRA, whatever, and double your money in half the time. Where if you're working a W 2, you can offset it, right? Because one is tax free, the other one is taxable.
mhm.
So it's learning your tax strategies too and knowing how to protect your money and grow it at the same time.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you get to keep. So that's and there are like that's there are channels on YouTube, and there are people who their sole career is not avoiding taxes, but it's definitely minimizing taxes. And
Yes.
there's tons of legal ways to do it. So this is not illegal stuff. It's just like, okay, how do you reduce your tax burden?
Yeah. And how many of us have lost money because we didn't know all the deductions we could have taken? Hello, I'm guilty. And you have CPAs out there who some of them don't even know themselves
Well,
and they just do your taxes for you.
yeah, but it's the feds don't make it easy when they start changing tax policies like year over year, and then
But
it's
hey,
like
whatever Trump is doing, I'm all about it, man. Like
is hey, if I get to keep more of my money, I'm all about it.
if I don't have to pay taxes anymore, and we're talking about tariffs on countries, and we save our American, manufacturing companies, and we have our American jobs again. I mean, to me, that's what we're all about.
I like those things, and I like not. I don't know if this will ever come to pass, but they're like no taxes on people that aren't making 150,000. And I'm like, well, I guess 149 is the goal. So
Yeah, there you go. A $1 difference.
149,999. Who knows if that is ever going to be a thing that comes to pass? But if it does, that's like almost everybody I know.
They keep talking about how the baby boomers, right, are transitioning into retirement. And they're got their 401ks, they've got their businesses, and
Well, I've
they're
got 2 or 3 houses behind me too.
right, but they've gotten too old to maintain all that. So who is going to come in and take over that? And that's a transfer of wealth that they're talking about doing. Is that this is the time where most people want to be in some kind of financial services industry because the baby boomers are transferring their wealth over to their children, over to, partners or whoever they've got, and they need to know what to expect for their retirement goals.
True, and something that I think is definitely financial planners are looking at this now. I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to it, but you live longer now. A lot of these boomers might go into their hundreds.
Yeah.
Not they're not going to kick off at 75 like we thought they were. And it freaks them out too because they're like, I might run out of money. It's like you might have to go to Walmart and be a greeter, Grandpa. Some of them do, and it's just one of those things. But again, like if you have these types of things in place, the sooner you get them in place, then you're just done. Because that's for me. Like I'm like, give me a quadplex. Let me live in one. I'll rent out the other ones. I ain't ever paying rent again.
Yeah.
I'll
So
never sell that
is
thing.
is that one of your concerns? Your financial concerns is you're going to run out of money?
No, because not really.
Okay. What would be one of your financial concerns? Would it be,
It's not
inflation?
no no none of that really.
Okay.
None of it. It's just my immediate concern is just income month over month, right?
Mm,
But here's the thing, like depends on where you are in life and like how smart you are with your money, right? You could have a high paying job and you're making a lot, but if you spend a lot, what's the deal, right? If you live below your means, you're probably always going to be okay, no matter what those means are. If you don't outspend your money, you should be fine.
okay. But here's the underlying question. What if you become disabled?
Then I'm probably screwed unless I can just make money off my face. Uh, you know,
But that's what most people, they're so worried about inflation, outliving their money, but then they never think about, oh, what if I become disabled?
yeah. If
Unexpect the expected, because let me tell you, I've been through some, and there's times where I have my good days and my bad days, and I'm like, oh, what if I do become fully disabled? What does that look like for me?
Yeah, no, for me it would be catastrophic because if I don't work, I don't eat,
Yeah,
and that's kind of just the way I've been going.
yeah,
Not that I don't want to live that way. I'd rather have. I would much rather be extraordinarily wealthy than where I'm at now, and that could be. That doesn't mean like a huge number. It just means I just don't want to have to work.
you
Right.
you just want to be on your own terms, your own schedule, and
Well, FU money is a term that you hear, right? And what FU money is like I can literally say no to almost everything.
yeah.
It's like, oh, we want you to do this. F you.
I will never work for corporate America again.
I I don't think I could
I just
unless
I'll go
unless
to jail. I'll
it's
go to jail in
it would
this
have to be
face.
like lot of zeros, and pretty much me writing my own ticket if I was ever to do that again. Because I've been doing this for so long on my own now. It's like I don't know if I could ever be. I don't know if I'm employable.
You're
Because
overqualified.
I don't know. Well, it's not. I wouldn't say that. I am under. uh, I'm past giving a f about what HR wants me to do.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, we have these rules. I'm like, I don't really care. You know, I'm going to do this thing the way I'm going to do it, and I'm going to deliver the result if I know I can. But if you want me to, you know, what's the TPS reports from Office Space? It's like, did you get those TPS reports? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
that'd be
take that and
great.
just get that out of my face. That'd be great. I'm not gonna do it. So it's I have become unemployable, except if it's a certain. It's got to be a perfect fit,
Mm.
right? Um, but yeah, if I was to be disabled right now, where if I couldn't make it like income by labor, that's one thing. Then I'd have to use my mind, right? Because
Yeah.
you can do something physical, you can do something with it. And if you use your mind, or you make your money work for you as an investor, or you trade your time, your labor, your physical labor for money.
But why should we have to work hard? That's my question. Why
That's a
should
good
we have
question.
to work hard when we have the military skill sets that we could take to the next level? If we just reassure ourselves on how confident we are that we can do something and put our hands and our mind in the right team to do it, do you know how successful you'll be? Because you're not doing it alone.
Yeah,
You're investing in knowledge, and it's right there at your fingertips, and it's all legal
yeah,
if you do it right, you
yeah.
know? So I'll be honest with you, I'm a lot less stressed having this real estate community, doing event planning, talking to my business partner. That it's like it's refreshing that I'm actually talking to people who are intelligent, and it's not just small talk, it's actually business talk,
Well, and it's
and we're
actually
getting things done.
people that have walked the walk and talked the talk too. Like
Yes.
people that have done it. I mean, you're dealing with people who have various levels of
Mhm.
success in various areas. So it's not a bunch of BS. Like, and you kind of know it too. You can almost gauge somebody's level of exposure to something, or their understanding of it, just by talking to them about it. And like, oh, this person, and it's not a bad thing. It's like they just might not know what they're talking about,
Right.
right? This is like the picture perfect reason for having wise counsel, which is kind of what you're doing here. You're putting together this team of people, and this group of people who are kind of all focused on the same, mission driven, mission oriented people, and that's what you're doing. That's why I applaud you here. But you have to find the right counsel, and sometimes, what's as important as that is understanding what is foolish counsel, right? Because not everybody. Somebody might sound great, but then they have absolutely nothing to contribute to the
And
to
you
the
know what I
current
say
thing.
to that? Don't waste my
Gotta go.
time.
Yeah, it's like man,
Please,
I gotta
do me
go.
a favor. I have found out by dealing with people and just knowing the person I am, I say, people are where they want to be, right? In their life. So I don't want to change you. You have to change on your own. And those changes may be scary for you, but all of us know change is inevitable, right? So I tell them, if you're gonna be leave and what we're doing with Operation Lionheart, I need to know what you're willing to contribute to.
Mhm.
What is your exchange of value? But if you don't show up and you don't participate and you talk a good talk, but you're not walking the walk with us, then just keep moving on.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Because I understand everybody gets busy, but you're never that busy to pick up the phone or do a Zoom or make a courtesy call and say, hey, I can't make it today. Some kind of way of saying, I would really like to support you, but I've got other things I'm doing. If you're honest with me about that, then you know what? I respect you. But if you're those type of people say, oh, yeah, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and then they never do it, then don't waste my time because
Yeah.
I'm going to know. I'm
Well,
already going to know.
well, because you know, it's like what is it? The Bible says you will know them by their fruits. It's like, yeah, if you're just, you know, but again, it like like you said, just be honest. It's like, okay, I can only commit to this,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just because, and so don't go around like making commitments that you know you can't
Mhm.
keep, And yeah, it's one thing if you're like, okay, I got into this, but then something changed on my end, and it's like now things are way different, and I just don't have the time, blah blah blah, and all this. Yeah, that's one thing. But yeah, if you're that person, just stop
Yeah.
it. It's not cool. Don't.
Learn to change your ways, okay? Get rid of some of those bad habits.
So we have financial independence. We have the veteran business owners being able to address their peers and their brethren,
Products and
and they
services,
can
yeah.
showcase themselves in their products or services or whatever. We have the creative financing, we have the backing of the institution of the capital investment or whatever strategies. What else is there? Did we miss anything?
There is, works of doing government contracting with OPSO, if nobody's familiar with it, but
I'm not. What is that?
they are working with doing financial, like financing the government contracts that are out there for small, medium, and large businesses that are starting up. Either that could be in technology, it could be in logistics, it could be whatever they could do. And they will basically finance that for them up to $1 million. And they
So
don't have to go through a lot of, government red flags to get qualified.
So there's government contracts out there for civilian operators or civilian businesses,
Well,
and then
yeah,
is
and
that what you're
then
saying, or is like what does that mean?
so it could be civilian and it can also be military too.
Right.
Like, there's different fields of industry that government contractors are in that they need finance for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So if
yeah,
you're a government contractor, then you need and you need the financing. You're saying that this is where you guys can step in and help.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If it works out good, yeah, definitely. We were hoping to partner with them in some form, way, or fashion
So
because
what kind of government contractors are you talking about?
it could be a variety of different things.
Right.
So I don't really know the whole details in there,
So
but
you
it's
can't say
coming.
if I
It's
say I have to
it's
kill you.
secret intel that I cannot release at this time.
Because every time I hear government contractor, I think, oh, it's Black Proxy 20 in Iraq or Afghanistan, just blowing stuff up. That's what I think.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
think I thought about that first too, but no, this is a little different. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, so I'm just gonna hold off on that till I get more. But
Yeah, that's a wise thing.
yeah,
It's probably the best course of
I'll
action.
end up getting more questions. But right now, I would love it if we could raise capital. If we could get a fund together where it goes to veteran related projects, for our community veterans. Like, here in Wilmington, we have a lot of homeless veterans and they put them in transitional or halfway houses that's not really good for them, right? Um, and that is something I think that we need to also focus on in our own community here is that we need to help these guys where we can
Hmm.
give them a purpose that not not like put them in a 9 to 5 job, but put them in an area where they have enough experience or knowledge that we could utilize them.
I think, is there anything that we didn't cover? That we didn't
No,
touch
we really covered a lot. I'm really surprised, Justin, that we've covered this much in a short amount of time.
Yeah, thank you.
So thank you.
So then all right, it's Veterans Wealth Strategy. Where can the people find out more? I know you have an Instagram page.
Hmm.
Where else are you? Is there a web page up yet?
So we changed the domain. So
Okay.
everybody saw the other one. It's now dominioncapital.org
Okay.
/VWS donate or vet sponsor.
Okay.
And this will take them to the page where they can look at my history of who I am and what I do, and then also the different levels and tiers of sponsorship. Because again, we want to make this an initiative where everybody can contribute their money as a donation. So this is all nonprofit funding. This is not for profit. I need to make
Okay.
sure that's clear.
Right.
This initiative is for nonprofit.
Okay. So it's is it a 503B or
I think Romeo said the Love Ministries Trust is a 501.
501? All right. So it's a
Yeah.
different animal. I
Right,
know less
right.
about that than I do the
Right.
503B.
So everything that gets donated is going towards the education, is going towards the training, is going towards the, venues and the sponsorships packages that they get, so that way they know when they go to an event that their money is worth their time,
Right.
right?
Okay.
And that's what we want out of this is we want to make sure that our veteran-owned business owners are getting the value they deserve for presenting their sponsorship for us to bring them on board so they don't have to do it by themselves because that's one thing I've learned about being you know operating booths and stuff, for your business, is you might spend $400 for that booth and get three referrals out of an 8-hour day. And you're going, was it really worth my time? So, if we're able to have this environment where our veteran owned business owners have a table, they're able to showcase their products and services, they're able to get up on stage and share who they are and just really just put the spotlight on them, to me, I think you're gonna get more value out of that.
And then it's also going to be an environment where they can mix and mingle and network too.
Absolutely. Outside of military base, I mean, it's just gonna be a lot of fun
I
anyway. You're
still
gonna
think,
have
man, get some range time. Like, get rid of me, get some range time, man. Because look, I want somebody invite me to come and shoot the MP5. It's like I want to shoot that.
well, I
And
know we
the
have
song.
ranges around here, but if someone wants to basically say, "Hey, we'll take you to the range for a day,"
No,
give
and
me
it
a
needs
call because I still love to
look,
shoot, and I'm a damn good shot.
get
So
get
you want to challenge me on the range? Let's do it.
get a half track. Right? Get an old Vietnam half track and pick everybody up and roll out in that too. That's
I mean, see, that's creative,
yeah.
right? You're already coming up with ideas.
See, I'm an idea guy, man. I'm an idea guy. I'm a dreamer. Don't ask me for details. I don't know
Yeah,
how it's getting done.
yeah.
I just throw it out there. I'll let all you like the detail people. You figure that out, right?
You
Mike,
techie people, you
yeah.
can stay in your tech world.
I'm the Steve Jobs. I need a Wozniak on the back end to make sure everything gets put together like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, details aren't my greatest strength.
Oh man. So I put the pieces of the puzzle together and I find the best solution for matching that puzzle.
You are a detail person.
Yeah. Because I'm always thinking about other people's feelings before I am my own.
Yeah.
I guess that's my
It's a
my
blessing and a curse.
superpower. Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse because you got to you got to get your own oxygen mask on before you help other people.
Oh, and I'm so bad about that because I would be like, here, let me get this on you. I know I'm gonna die, but hey, you know what?
Yeah.
You got a chance.
It's like, yeah, like tell them my story. So, all right, you are on Instagram
I'm on Facebook too.
and Facebook, and where else? All right, so Instagram, Facebook, where I'll link to both your profile pages in the
Yeah,
description.
and you're following me. I'm following you. I would love it if everybody would cross post some of us because that way, we just started this year and we really want to take this nationwide, right? And so we need your help. If you're a veteran, if you're a military professional looking to make a difference, come talk to me. This is who I am. I'm very open minded to and hearing your ideas and how you can be supportive with the Veterans Well strategy. So
Fantastic. All right, I think unless you got anything else, I think that's all we got. That's it for today, folks, on the Business Builder Podcast with Pia Nordin of Veterans Well Strategy and many other things. Airbnb Hall of Famer. I don't know. We'll see.
one day.
One day. And yeah, I think that's all we got. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you so
Peace.
much, Justin.
You're welcome.